Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Welcome back at the Buzzers. On this relatively exciting day.
Wild Wednesday, all-time high Wednesday.
All-time high Wednesday.
All-time high Wednesday, we'll call it. Got a couple markets making all-time highs. Welcome to all of our buzzer beaters in the chat. Let us know how your Wednesday went. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before. We believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is your first time meeting. This is our first time meeting. My name is Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share experience, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
So if you are all our chat, our audience, thank you as always for joining us every day. Let's review what happened in the markets. Gonna give a shout out to our chat mod, Andrew. If you have any questions, Andrew's the guy that sends them over to us. He's also the guy that caught 100 points in the NASDAQ with a 2-lot today. So he's not just a chat moderator. Andrew's a damn good trader as well. So shout out to Andrew. Let us know how you did in the chat. Were you up on the day, down on the day? Anything that you forgot on the day? Or sorry. Reading and talking at the same time. Audio, video is good. Anything that you learned from the day, or anything that you forgot. Maybe you forgot some bad habits. But let us know how you did, and we'll get right into the markets. Take a look at the Trader Hub really quick. We did have FOMC minutes coming out. We know that with those minutes, we're not really going to see anything change. The Fed is, unless they're planning on surprising us, we're not going to see anything there. We did hear comments from the president that he's looking for a 300 basis point cut. Coach Paul, what would happen if that happened?
Volatility, I will tell you that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I can say that to my banker too. And he can say, I'll look into it, please. No, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Drama versus reality. But what would happen? Really, volatility would happen. I can't say which direction.
Yeah, but it will be volatile for sure. We do have some letters going out. Kiran, thanks for sending that. Trump letters dropping now. Letters to a bunch of different countries on tariffs that will be going into effect August 1st. He did say that those were going to go out. We had crude oil inventories number come out as well. Another huge miss. Actual was 7.07. Forecast was negative 1.6 million. Mortgage applications came in at 9.4%. Previous was 2.7. Maybe showing some strength in the housing market there with 9.4% mortgage applications, even though rates are not coming down. Anything? Go ahead.
Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet.
Sometimes you just got to do it, right? Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to do it. 50% tariff on Brazil. That just came out from Truth Social. 50% tariff on Brazil. I don't know what the prior number was, but those letters are still coming out and going to keep coming out. Anything else you got on the news, Coach Paul?
I think this tariff news coming out dribs and drabs like this is getting to be accepted form of business. It's having less and less effect. So FOMC minutes, I think, are already expected. So nothing that obviously changed the minds of equity ownership. But it was surprising. Bonds had a nice move on some of that news, up a point. Other than that, no, nothing big. If we look at the bigger picture, Bitcoin was probably the biggest winner of all.
Yes, it was. And the headline there was it Roswell, New Mexico? Roswell, New Mexico, the first city with a Bitcoin reserve in the U.S.
Is that for aliens?
I don't know. But that's
Uh,
what the headline was.
it
Sent Bitcoin higher, sent crypto higher in general, and new all-time highs in spot Bitcoin. We didn't see it in the future yet, but spot Bitcoin made a new all-time high. Uh, Bitcoin and
yeah.
aliens. Bitcoin and
I
aliens.
you sure you weren't reading from the Onion there?
Hey, you never know these days, right? If you get
Yeah,
your facts from Twitter, they may be alternative facts, but that's what the new news was. Am I still trading Solana? I don't trade it. I just hold it. Uh, just hold it. Uh, yeah, we do have some news coming out later tonight that could be pretty volatile. Japanese PPI coming out later tonight. So when Dakota's on slow markets, I'll be on with him tonight. We may see some volatility after that number. And what else we got? Tomorrow we got jobless claims. That's every Thursday. And of course, we're going to see more tariff news, I'm sure. That is not that we have not seen the end of it. It's probably just the beginning. Uh, all right, let's get into the charts. There are 36. I added micro Ethereum here. And I'm just going to, full disclosure, micro Ethereum trades 5 cents a tick. If you put on a 15 lot at the low tick of the day, and held it to the high tick. It was a $170 trade, 15 lots
15.
with a 15 lot. So if you're looking for a market where you just want to practice some stuff, not going to cost you a whole lot, that's probably the place to do it. But
And you can say I'm a 15 lot
hey,
trader.
you can so you could actually practice scaling in and out of trades with that,
True.
with a little bit of risk on. Right? If you want to know how to scale in and out of a trade, might be a good place to do it. I added it to the watch list. Because no market left behind. But I don't know how many traders we're gonna have that traded. So to the downside today, and also micro Ethereum, I'm not gonna include in our top percentage movers, just because you know high to low, you would need a 15 lot to make less than $200. So we're not gonna include it, but it does move. To the downside today, we had heating oil down 1.41%. Copper down 2.63%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, at 3.83%. To the upside, we had the Russell, up 0.98%, the Ultra Bonds up 1.16%, and Micro Bitcoin futures up 2.27% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. Micro Ethereum, honorable mention, up 5.44%. But again, I don't know how many traders we have trading it, so it'll get the honorable mention. And it's also a lot of the time in that top percentage mover spot. I don't want to give anyone any false pretenses like, oh, I'm going to trade micro Ethereum and be uh, you know, a millionaire trader. You need to trade a lot of size in that market to do that.
Right?
So, uh,
Plus, you'd be paying a lot of commission.
oh yeah, a whole lot of commissions, whole lot of commissions. Sunny Smiles, new to Top Step, just started today. Welcome to Top Step. Good to have you here, and thank you for joining us at the buzzer. All right, to talk about our big four, we have where is it? The S&P up a 0.5%, crude oil down 0.09%, gold, pretty nice day in gold. Hogue had a pretty nice trade in the house account, up 0.13%, and the Nasdaq making new all-time highs in the futures, up 0.6% on the day. Let's go over to the Nasdaq on the daily. Coach Paul, we talked about this little pullback that we had over the past couple of days. Still looking bullish, and we made a new all-time high today. What does it look
Yeah,
like, though?
we wicked out there. It looks like a typical slow moving grinding market. Um, and a summer market. But overall, that's still bullish. We've had the correction. We're still in this range for the last week. Um, I'd like for really to set the rocket higher. We need to settle at an all-time high. Settle. We're just trading price. If what I mean by that, if we settle, there will be some volume to it. Right here, we're still just grinding. What buy low, sell high is working as we speak. But
Yes, it is.
overall structure is still pretty bullish.
Still pretty bullish. Rich Layton has a question in the chat. What is the NVIDIA weighting in the NASDAQ? I'm going to post a link to a website here that you could take a look. But great question, Rich. NASDAQ, NVIDIA did make all-time highs today, and it is 13.56% of the NASDAQ. Top three companies in the NASDAQ, NVIDIA 13.56%, Microsoft 12.76%, and Apple 10.75%. Amazon number 4, 8.06%. I saw a headline that said Amazon's Prime Day numbers were down 41%.
Wow.
I contributed to that. I did not buy anything this year on Prime Day. Maybe I should have. Maybe they'll give us an extension, guys. Extension on the deals because we didn't buy anything.
A reset.
Right. Give us a reset. Fire drill on Amazon products because their sales are down. Everybody broke.
That's huge. Wow.
Yeah, everybody's spending all their money on a affiliate discounts for prop firms. I didn't say that. You did. Don't do that. Don't buy accounts. Trade the one you have. All right.
It was news out about NVIDIA that they were going to launch an AI-driven browser that's to compete with Google. I heard really good things about it. I don't know if that's why it rallied, but there was some pretty good headline news for that they're going to expand their business.
Hmm.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why not? All right, let's take a look at the Nasdaq on the daily. We do know we had Fed minutes coming out. We had tariff news. Pretty quiet overnight session. Not a whole lot to talk about. We did have that 200 moving average that we talked about yesterday on 30-minute chart. We closed pretty much right at it and chopping around to start. I'm just gonna clear this up a little bit. Let's just put a line on where that 200 was when the New York session started. Take this off. Initially, a decent spot to look to sell. Last night, we did have somewhat of a sell off. You probably could have got a 2-to-1 short here. A decent amount of urgency here. Yep, you definitely got a 2-to-1. But this is a market that's in an uptrend. So is this just a better opportunity to look for longs? In hindsight, yes, it was. But a pretty good short last night if you were looking during slow markets time. I said fire drill. I should not have said that word. That is a dangerous word. That is a dangerous word. We have an hour
London open.
Hour before London. This is an hour before London. We did see some volume come into the markets a little bit on the 30-minute, right at those lows. Is it a J trade? Could have been, but we closed above VWAP for the session and we rallied from there. There was anything you got about the on the overnight?
Yeah, let's look at the London half-hour bar.
London half
For that-
hour right here.
Okay, there you go. There's a new opening. That's where it never went lower after London opened.
No, it didn't.
So
It did not.
note that. And then once we broke out on the
Yeah, just higher
and
highs.
VWAP left,
Higher lows,
highs.
higher highs. Volume supporting it.
Yeah. I would note, I mark that now every morning when I get up. London, to me, I'm sorry, New Yorkers, is still the center of the financial world. So, international.
Okay.
Because they've been around a long time.
Yes, they have. They have. So there was a spike of volume that came in right before the open. 25. Hogan and I were doing the opening call right before the open. This little candle right here. It's pretty interesting. I'm going to go down to a 1-second chart. Let's just take a look real quick.
A 1-second chart.
1-second chart. Let's just take a look. Do some analysis here, some Jack Pelzer analysis here on this 1-second chart. There was a ton of volume that got traded in a 1-second period right at that time. It was about 600 contracts in a second. Hey, there it is. This candle right here. 404 contracts in a second. that range was, and again, I do not trade off of a 1 second chart. You can use some volume scanners to kind of point this out. The range of that candle was 935s at the highs, 922.75 at the low. I'm gonna keep that on the chart for right now.
What time was that?
That was at 7:57 Central Time this morning. So I'm going to keep that on my charts there, right? We say it all the time. The market respects volume. You can see 1 second candle, 400 contracts traded there. It was a passive bid that was sitting there. Then there were a couple bigger orders that were at the market today. Passive bid sitting there that fills, and we can see what happens afterwards and how the market respects it. Really nice breakout this morning. I kind of missed this trade, and I actually took it, but I took it late. And if you were watching fast markets, I'll explain why I took this trade off. And you guys have seen me. We talk about this trade all the time, right? This we do all the time. Urgency, right? 3-minute opening range. Volume looks like it wants to leave the range pretty early. Price closes outside. We just have a rally. Sometimes you're going to get a pullback, right? Sometimes the market is just going to go and not really give you an opportunity for a pullback. But once we start to get extended, it starts to feel like chasing, especially when we push up into 23,100. Don't trade it and reject, right? All of the buyers who are rushing into this, if the market stops making higher highs and stopped right before an all-time high, in the back of my mind, I think all of these late longs to this move could be the first to liquidate and just sell us right back off, right? And that's usually when we need to gather liquidity for the next move up. So we'll get a spike down. So I took the initial trade with the micro, 23,082. And I said, okay, if we're going to just go and run 23,100, I'll hold on to the trade. If not, I want to take it for a break even because I'm late on that momentum. Ultimately, it would have paid out 30 points on that trade. When I took it initially, I wanted to build a position, Coach Paul. I wanted to go to, at least 5 micros on that trade. It never really gave me an opportunity for a pullback and tried to go. It's just not worth the risk on that trade. Would it have worked out? Yes. I was probably risking about 40 points to make what turned out to be 30 points, right above that all-time high. I'd rather not take that trade, right? And just try to be disciplined. I need to find a way to get in here when, we're closer to volume. Why use a 3 instead of a 5-minute? Just personal preference. Karan, you can use a 5-minute. 5 minutes is still pretty good. Which Paul, you sound like you were going to say something.
No, I like what you said. When you cut that off, you got in late.
Yeah.
So when you're in late, you got to get out early.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
you're late to the party. We're not just going to extend the party for you.
It's not going if it's on your targets. That you when you get in late and you can do that. It's a tough decision to me. Sometimes I just let it go and I find something else. But at that point, your expectations have to come late too.
I'm way down.
I do like that decision. Like, okay, I'm in late, I'm out early.
Yeah.
Also, what did we have at the top?
So right at the top up here, we talked about this a little bit yesterday where we don't really see them to the short side. We have a J trade. So we have high volume right at 9 a.m. Central Time. And it's not the most extreme volume that we had, right? It's still lower than the open, but at those highs, at a new all-time high, and immediately we get no follow through. We get a close below that range, and that's a pretty nice. Excuse me, for a J trade setup, it's probably a B, just because it wasn't the highest volume, but it did happen at the high. We did get the close below, and we did fail to follow through with any volume to the upside. We got a pretty nice short here. Pretty nice short here. And continuation volume as well. I did take a short. The short that I took, and maybe I was just half asleep today. My short was pretty late also.
You're
But
one step behind.
yeah, I was not setting the pace today. But the short did end up playing out. And again, the thought process is all these late longs, if they chase, they're going to liquidate when price comes back down and should bring us lower. This candle right here is interesting. I marked this range out. This candle right here is pretty interesting because it had the potential to be that reversal candle, right? That's now the highest volume that we saw on the day. But what do we measure? The range of the candle and then the flow, right? The flow never stopped to the downside where we got some pretty nice continuation volume. And that's why I was comfortable taking this short, right? If we saw that kind of stopping volume that we normally see, and then the volume just dies out or the market closes back above this VWAP from that candle, then I'm out of the trade. But every time we checked up into it, we rejected, which is telling me that the flow is still to the downside. I can take the trade from there. Go ahead, coach.
And if that was going to be a J trade, what's one of the first um, criteria is it has to break that high. Now, with that said, that's a pretty, like you said, that's a large candle. What was it? Size of that candle?
This was about 60 points, 62.
62 points. And then the next candle, we close right near the low of that big candle. And if we didn't see, we see VWAP went lower also.
Yep.
That's not good. I won't say good buying. There's no buying there of any s- um power. It
Yep.
just it was weak buying.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Weak buying. Oh man, I deleted my 1 second
One
candle.
second, there it is.
But
Anyway,
that was the range. Yeah, that was the range pretty much. And so I got short from 83s. And I was looking for lower, right? I was looking for much lower, but remember that candle, right? The market respects volume when it comes in. Somebody traded 400 contracts here before the market even opened. Do we think they were still in the market when we got back down here? I'm gonna say
it,
yes. Uh,
you know, I I saw that candle on a half an hour,
this one?
and no, the big candle with the biggest volume,
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
and we couldn't. It concerned me that we can get up. We did not close above that. We had that covering on that small one, but that tonight I'm going to watch that. That was the biggest volume of the day.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And like you said, we did not close above it. Closed maybe right at the highs, but a little close above. But the day didn't close above it. That is
No,
interesting for sure, Coach Paul. The high of that candle is 23.49 quarter. 23.49 quarter. Uh, uh, Jay, I am not. I cannot. I'm not a landscaper. I cannot give any landscaping advice. But you bought your own chainsaw to cut down trees. Just be safe. That's all I can say.
don't
Uh,
drink and cut down
don't
trees.
drink and cut
I'll
down
just give
trees.
you that.
And Rachel, trust him. I, all right, but yeah, we came right back down to that level, that 925 ish range that we saw that 1 second candle. And at this point, I have to manage my trade, right? Do I want this to go lower? Yes. Is there a market participant that does not want this to go lower? Yes. I'm trading micros. This person traded 400 minis at this price. They're going to win every single time. Um, and they did win this time as well, right? We came back down to this price. Uh, Volume was much higher. Got to manage my position here. I was down to a one lot runner and said, hey, you know what? If we can break down, great. But whoever is buying in this area continued to buy for a really nice trade to the upside. Volume was a lot lower through the rest of the day, so it did take a while, to get back through that range. But it eventually did, and paying attention to that, to me, helped me get out of that trade. Um, anything, go ahead, coach.
No, I'm just, I'm looking at how quickly that really rose
Yeah,
after that. And thinking this really wasn't a big day.
yes, it does. Uh, JJFX says your analysis always looks good after everything happened. Watch fast markets. Watch fast markets. Watch the replay. I called out this exact trade and why I was getting out at this 925. If anyone was watching fast markets, you guys know that I called out that 925 price. And I'm not the guy who says, oh, I called it out. I don't give a shit. If I didn't make any money from it, I don't care if I called it out. Doesn't mean anything. But this analysis that we're doing in review is what I try to do in real time. Because it's what I make my trades based off of. Uh, but yeah, I agree,
Oh,
JJ. It does always look good. I'm like, oh man, why didn't I just buy 15 lots here? Uh,
yeah, it does always look good. That's why you have to have a routine.
yeah,
Part of our review here is a routine of what to look for. Then then you can get it to a point where, okay, I've seen this, I know the routine, I have a plan, I can execute it and not worry about making or losing money, but executing a plan. That's how a routine is of utmost important if you're going to trade. It keeps you from trading impulsively.
sure.
I but I don't know any good traders who trade impulsively.
No, yeah. If your sole mode of operation is impulse, yeah, probably not. And guys, I don't think JJ was being rude. I think he was just saying, I
No,
think for all of us, right? My analysis, my review analysis is always, yeah, you just buy it down here, risk 6 points with a 15 lot, and then you get a 150 point trade, whatever it is, right? It always
yeah,
looks good in hindsight, but we try to do it so it slows down the market in real time.
no,
Um,
I thought it was a great comment
Same,
because that's why you got to come to routine, and we talk about this as basketball coaches.
yeah,
Um, that's why repetitive muscle memory someone put up there is exactly it. It's
yep,
muscle memory. This time it's why the difference is acting on impulse. Oh, this is going lower. It's making new lows. I'm going to get here. And without any measurement of risk, it just, okay, it's got to go. And then just, I'm in. And now what the hell? Oh, I'm in. I have no exit strategy. Um, why did I get in? If you've been in that, and all traders get there, that's why you have to develop a plan and a routine.
100%. Shubham, I saw your question in Discord. We'll try to get to that one towards the end of the session. Coach, anything else you have on the equities? Do we want to?
What's Rusty had a nice
Rusty did have a nice
move.
day. Biggest percentage mover in the equities to the upside today. Um, it got that follow through, right? Where the NASDAQ kind of stalled out right in the middle. The Russell just kind of continued. Let's look at it daily. We know this one had to play catch up a little bit. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, we're holding that 200. It's doing what we thought. It's the catch up. Um, let's look at that opening range. I wouldn't, Rusty, I don't even care about what happened overnight.
Right. So let's
I
look
mean, who's
at
trading Rusty overnight?
3 minute opening range on the open.
Yeah.
All right. All right. A little choppy to start off.
It's choppy, and once again, VWAP did not leave.
Correct.
Had the breakdown, but we had a J trade down there.
Yeah, we did.
Um,
One might have stopped you out. I don't know where that stop
all
was.
right. Let's see what VWAP did.
Stayed flat until about right here.
Okay. Oh, so um, even if you get stopped out, if you don't, you know, I I always you should have something. If you lose all your money in one trade, that you're not trading right. But going back, there's still an opportunity. I'm aggressive. I'll probably take that buy, get stopped out. I have comes back. VWAP leaves the range. I'm back in. Or let's say I traded too much size, I, and I lost $1,000, and then I have 2,000 left in my account. That should by the way, that should never happen. Anyway, you know, taking that one side. If I got short on the opening
Yeah.
on a price basis, I know this. If I see that type of J trade, I'm out. But there was a short there. Um, we see this if we look. We see that breakout in price, but volume doesn't follow. We get under volume, the volume being VWAP. There's an opportunity there to lean on the bad buying off the get-go. Sometimes there's other ways to look at it. I don't want to get the impression that we're just looking at
One setup.
one trade, it's
Yeah.
one setup.
Right.
The idea is why volume becomes important. It gives you depth and perspective. If that VWAP isn't there, we just assume that's all good buying. It's all based on price. But when it got back under VWAP and VWAP didn't leave the range, I do the study. I think that can be a nice scalp.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah.
Um, we
That because they got to liquidate, right? Bad buyers become good sellers.
Yeah, and this is short term.
Yep.
It could be good buying and it looks like it by larger participants. They don't care if it breaks. I'm buying it.
Buy more lower.
Maybe I'll buy some more next month.
Right.
But we don't know. But we can do is measure. So there was big buying. I put it this way: they stopped. How do we know they stopped? Because they didn't defend VWAP. So let's put this on a 5-minute. So someone asked the difference between a 3-minute and a 5-minute. Much the same.
Yeah. Very similar.
So to answer that question, I'm gonna go a little more depth. They're very similar. Take the time frame that like Coach Jay likes the 3-minute. He's comfortable with it. Take that, but there's not a great amount of difference. There is some, but here once again we are buying. VWAP doesn't leave the range, so it's early buying. Which, from my experience and being in a pit, the bigger player is going to come in the first half an hour, first at the get-go.
Yep.
They've waited for it because that's where the most volume takes place. They stop buying. Now, as a short-term trader, I see that. I'm like, if I'm long and I bought that, okay, maybe I take a small loss or take a small profit. I don't sit back and go, and this is a common mental block. If you bought that early and you didn't get out and it comes back kind of where you were, you feel like that something's been taken from you. Right? It's like mentally you're like, oh, if it gets back up there, I'll just get out. But if you look at the structure and using price and volume, and you do this enough, you're like, okay, it didn't work out. I don't attach regret that I didn't get out. One of the first things in our mind is like, why didn't I get out earlier? Well, you have new information. Like I said, you could be playing poker and you got a pair of eights to start.
Yep.
And then you get nothing else. Well, and then someone else is raising it on you and they have a king or an ace showing. Well, all right, I'm not staying in.
Right.
But that was Rusty catching up. Was a bigger percentage gaining? This is kind of bullish.
Agreed.
Maybe these big players are listening to us, Coach.
Maybe they are. Paul H has a question about big players. Why do the big players wait until the open? Surely they can trade pre-market with us. So why don't they? Paul, I'm gonna say that they do trade pre-market. That NASDAQ bid that got filled 40 minutes before the open, somebody had a game plan. Uh, somebody had a game plan there. You don't trade that much size in a what is can be seen as a illiquid time. And we're talking about 40 minutes before the open, so there definitely are some market participants out there. Uh, but when I see something like that and I see size trade before the open, I'm marking that out because exactly what you just said. Why do they wait for the open, Coach Paul?
That's where all the players are, and the market makers and the players are agreed to be there. If
Faye just
then
said it in the chat. I think Faye just said it the best. More food.
okay, there we go. Very well said. That's why by the way, that's why we watch the opening range.
Yep.
It's where business gets done. That's where the food. It kind of reminds me of when I was on the committees and at the board of trade. Of all these members in the committee, and you want them to show up. You just put in the notice. We would put in a notice. Lunch will be served. Everybody shows up, rich, poor, or indifferent. Everybody shows up for the food.
Right.
And that's where the food is. That's where you'll find people. That's
Yes.
where you'll find some volume.
Yeah. And it's not just a time thing, right? Why do we see most volume usually get traded at whole number levels? Because I know where that's where the liquidity is going to be. So if I need to trade a ton of size somewhere, I'm going to do it where everyone's looking. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, bigger orders aren't going to try. They can't
Right.
get in a little bit lower.
Right.
They have to get filled. Like even like that 400 lot, that person that's to me an allocation. There probably was some discussion outside of the futures industry. Hey, I'm going to put it up there, see if you can gather some people to take it out. And we'll execute it on Globex.
Yep. Percent. Uh, Yamil is using this chat as a journal right now. Yamil, I'm trying to keep up to what you're saying. Stick to your model is one of the comments I pulled from there. But yeah, stick to your model, and have the trust in yourself and your strategy to execute. There was a comment here that I also wanted to bring up. GDL, it's so tough on your psyche to see a trade setting up, having it all right, then flubbing the execution. The worst feeling. GDL, I'm going to agree with you. It doesn't feel great to do that, but harping on it in the moment keeps you from taking good trades. The NASDAQ trade, for example. I could have executed a opening range breakout long that we talk about all the time and made one trade on the day, made 80 to 100 points. I didn't. I missed that execution. Was there a part of me when I took this long that said, damn it, you missed that execution. Now you're in this shitty trade? Yes. But that's information. And it's why I cut the trade. Because if I tried to get back what I didn't make, I have a loser eventually, right? Because do I even accept the 30 points that the market is willing to give me if I'm harping on the 100 that I missed? Right? No, I should have 100 is where my brain wants to go, but that's not true. I should have 100 if I got in where I was supposed to. I got in where I either had to or where I felt I needed to chase, and now I'm not accepting this 30. So for me, I think when that happens, it is a tough thing to do, and ideally you want to execute at your best, right? You want to be, hey, great setup. I'm executing when I should, so I can see full result of that trade. But if I coach, you tell your basketball players next play mode, right? The kid that turns the ball over and looks at the bench like he wants to cry, you want to take him out of the game.
He's coming out, or she,
right? He
or
or she,
she.
right? You want to take that player out of the game because you're living in the past. If you make a pass and it goes to the other team, go get the ball back, right? Because you're not getting that pass back. You're not getting that trade back. So just focus on the next one.
Come to that point is what in that situation as a coach to say you want to play with emotion, not emotionally.
Right.
So in trading, I've come to the conclusion that it's if you want to master the trading, it's really not you can't eliminate your emotions.
Yep.
What you can do is understand and integrate it so that that you no longer make impulsive, unconscious decisions.
Yep.
And that's comes from experience and understanding that, like, that's why you play with emotion, not emotionally. When you're making decisions based on a loss of the last loss, and now I got to go and do something else to get it back. Now you're deciding emotionally, and you know what? It's natural. It's a natural human construct. But with experience, and you start understanding that, okay, now you can go through that process and understand it. And by the way, that's what's great. And I'm here, maybe I'm a homer. That's what's great about opening combines and have very little risk of your own capital.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And I see some traders in the chat kind of resonating with that. So GDL, it's not just you, right? I understand it. I need to work on this in real time. You know, the lockout features. I think a lot of times the people look at lockout features like it's an all day thing. I have to lock myself out. Remember, you can set a timed lockout on your account, right? If you feel like you're gonna do something that you don't want to do, you can. Where is it? It's gonna be grayed out now because the markets are closed, but you can set a timed lockout. I'm already locked out for the day, so I can't do it here. But you can set a time lockout. Hey, I know I'm trying to chase money. Let me just not even be able to make decisions for 5 minutes. Coach, you've coached that player before that turns the ball over and then they just like flagrant foul in the next possession.
Yeah.
You ever coach that kid? Right? It's just
Yeah.
like that's
I
that's the
was I was that kid when I first started playing.
coach,
Give me that back.
that's my ball.
That's my ball. Then you conflagrate it with another bad decision.
Now you're getting thrown out of the game. Yeah, that's the trader who, you know, you miss your trade, you're upset about it. So now I'm going to take the next trade with 10 times the leverage to try to make it back. No, flagrant foul. You're getting kicked out of the game. Um, you have options. You can lock yourself out for a couple minutes. You can take a deep breath. Rich Layton just said it, switch over to a practice account. Doom did it this morning where he took a NASDAQ trade that was kind of frustrating for him. His initial short, I didn't love the trade, but he did, and it was a loss, and that was okay. But he tried to short it again and got stopped out right at this high. And I love what Doom did. He felt the kind of energy of needing to take another trade, and he switched to the micro euro futures and said, if I'm gonna place a trade, I'm gonna place it here. Where he's still in one, he still had some risk, but I think that trade probably cost him $6, right? But he said, I need to divert my focus really quick because I'm gonna do something that I don't want to do. And I think that was a real, mature thing to do as a trader there. So good conversation there. We are somehow still
Yeah.
on the equities charts. So let's keep
Well,
going.
these are really good conversations because this is really what trading is.
Yep.
Whether we're trading equities, gold, crude,
Yeah, right.
know thyself.
Yeah, the setup's half of
Because
it.
if you don't, the market will. Because you trade, how you trade is who you are. So these are really important discussions. Like, and it comes out all the time. It's like, yeah, I hate when I knew what to do and I didn't do it, because there's that convergence of yourself and what you see. And I'm glad we have this discussion because we can go through all the charts in the world until they um, go together. That's when the success happens consistently.
Yep. 100%. Good conversation. Good comments. This discussion applies across all assets. Yes, it does. Speaking of all assets, did we talk about gold yet?
No, we haven't.
Have not. And we got 15 minutes, so let's see what we can do. All right. Let's take a look at gold on a daily balance market. We've been talking about this one. It's down one day, up the next, down one day, up the next. Extremes of the range in gold, I'm going to kind of call it 32, extended a little bit. We'll go 32.85 up to 33 355. Right, that kind of range right there. It's just bouncing back and forth, Coach Paul. Anything you see on the daily here?
Yeah, it's not getting over the 20.
Mm,
And it's look how close they're coming now, the 20 and the 50.
yep. Continuing to
And
tick lower.
if I'm a longer term gold person, if that crosses, I'd lighten up. Now, in the short term, we're noticing that we're not, it's not acting, it's losing like it did. It's losing its momentum. Almost needs a restart. What do I mean by that? Like a big break.
Mm,
Start getting some old money out of there. Gets what we're not getting here is bad shorts,
yeah,
and they can't. It's so. But how many days we've been under this 20 without recovering? And now we're starting. But in that range, if I see kind of volume come out of that range, I think we extend down to 200 pretty quickly.
agreed.
But in the meantime, it's been some really good trading in this range.
Great trading in this range. Great trading in this range. And we've been talking about it. It's a decent range to trade. Today was a little bit more consolidated, 35 points high to low. Daily ATR is 53 points. Um, there was a comment, I don't remember who said it in the chat, but why look at the ATR on the 3 minute instead of a daily? Isn't it more effective on the daily? We are day trading, so I do look at the daily ATR. Coach Paul, you look at the daily ATR just to get an idea of the range. But why are we using an ATR on a shorter time frame as we look at trades in gold here?
To measure our risk and our position size.
Yep.
That's ATR was designed by traders by Wells Wilder to pos- to create a proper position size. If when we talk about risk reward, well, I only want to risk one to make three. Okay, that's yeah. Now, what is one? Well, I only want to risk $100 to make $300. Well, if you don't get if it doesn't match what the market state, that $100 can go in a heartbeat.
It could be slippage in the NASDAQ.
Yeah. So using the ATR is a term of volatility, and when you can understand that volatility, you can position size much better. So on the 3 minute, let's look at it. Last night, oh, this half hour.
This is the half hour last night. Yeah, half hour last night. We're under the 2200 and the 2050 and 200. We're under it all. Decent sell last night.
Yeah, it still seems we're getting this liquidation. This is kind of a pattern. Um, Look at that candle. That one is like
Yeah.
that made the bottom.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah, that with big. I mean, did we get a J trade? Yeah, but uh,
A
that
late
was
one.
long
We
gone.
did
A
get a
late
late one.
one.
But and we gonna have to start naming all of these because this flat VWAP after making that low, it's a range, right? It's a range trade. This
And look what we don't do. We don't close lower than that.
right.
That was it. It was the sell. Now it wasn't follow through, but I mean, there was opportunity to buy it. Not mine, not the one I like, but just here's a classic example of the seller stopped selling. It wasn't like there was we got to buy this. They just stopped selling. Then we leaked higher, but on the overall, as you look at the daily, this isn't really kind of bullish action. This is kind of like they stopped selling. Okay, they're not selling, and the market makers run it, or the market found balance and went back up. But I don't find this very friendly at all. Um,
Uh, and that being said, Hogue took a great long in this market.
yeah,
Um, on a higher time frame, I 100% agree with you though. This market does not look healthy right now. Who just said it in the chat, but it can't even get back up to the 200 moving average. It's close. It's kind of closing in. The 20 is trending up a little bit. But yeah,
It did, right. It didn't get up to the 200, and that's where I'm looking at the 200 if it gets around there, or on the opening if it fails on a half an hour. I'll take some risk to sell it. But let's go through Hoag's trade
all
because
right. Go ahead.
that's the 1 minute on the opening.
So Hoag was looking at, and let's make sure I get this right because I want to detail Hoag's trade because his trade was based on the initial balance in gold, right? So 720 to 820 Central Time. He is looking at where's 820. All right. So Hoag is looking at this range right here, right? This is the initial balance in gold. We know the opening range is at the opening range trade that Hoag and JD look at is the first minute at 720 Central Time. But the trade Hoag took was this initial balance trade where we held 50% of the initial balance, right? If we look at volume from that point, it was moving to the upside. Price was as well. Volume going with it. That's supportive. And I think what he did was once we closed outside of this initial balance, and he said it early on in fast markets, he said, if we get a close outside of the initial balance, we may see continuation. But we had to wait, right? We had to wait for that trade. So Hoag waited. He has a ton of patience. He trades on a higher time frame than most of us do. So he's looking at a half an hour close outside of that range. Then he's buying it on a pullback near the highs. I think he got in somewhere near 3308s. And there's a couple of ways that I've seen traders take this trade or measure profit targets on this trade. Sometimes traders go a full extension of the initial balance. Here's a 1-to-1 trade right there. So, the initial balance was about 12 points. You got 12 points on the trade. I think this is one Hoag just kind of held all day, but that's what that trade was based on. That first hour after the opening range, 720 Central, close above the high, take the trade and go. Beautiful trade.
Boy, it's interesting. That's where right around the high of that down candle that made the low.
Yep.
Nice trade, Hoag.
Hoag did have a tighter stop on this. Yeah, his stop was not all the way here. I was just doing that to measure the initial balance. But if we look at where he got in, 3309s, I think he probably had 6 ticks of drawdown in that trade.
Wow.
Patience pays. Patience pays. If we look for where the actual drawdown was on the trade, he probably had like a 15-to-1 trade, something like that. But I know Hoag was giving it some room to work. Hoag likes a cheap trade. He definitely does. All right. Anything else? Let's go to micro Bitcoin, Coach. I don't think crude oil did too much today, but micro Bitcoin with the news out of New Mexico, first city in the U.S. with a Bitcoin reserve. We saw spot Bitcoin make all-time highs. We didn't see all-time highs in the futures yet, but spot Bitcoin making all-time highs. What are we looking at here, Coach? Oh,
Okay, we've been holding at 20. We've talked about this. Let's do a trend line from the all-time highs. I think we had it on before. We don't see it there. From those highs right there, we held that. We held at 20. Look at that low. Right on the trend line. What we talked before is very friendly versus gold. Now we say it's been acting, gold and Bitcoin have been acting similar,
yep.
but nothing's exact. But look at the difference here. We had this rally off of above the 20 and the 50. It cannot stay under there. That's ownership. This looks very bullish to me. Let's look at the half hour, see if we saw any urgency.
Last night, not really. It's funny. This move, a lot of it I think we need to mark out this range over here because this move happened kind of out of nowhere on a headline. It was like a pretty uneventful day. We did test that trend line. Actually, I'm going back so far. What are you looking at
Yeah,
here? What
that
are you
was
doing, dude?
Mondays. That was the
What are you doing? Uh, here is today's range. I thought these were 3-minute candles.
uh,
All right, there we go.
I was kind of noticed. I'm like, well, okay, we'll go from there. Now, last night we did have some selling. That
Yep.
was a nice 2-to-1, but VWAP left the range, but it left late. There was no urgency. But let's just okay with Bitcoin. We talked about this before. Volume can happen anytime. There's no solid. What time is Bitcoin? It's open. What time is it open? It's open now.
It's open.
It's always open. It never closes. So one of the things we're noticing, or I'm noticing, that the volume is coming in when the futures open. Why? Hedging. So let's look at the high when we start coming in with some volume.
Put on a 5-minute chart. Let's go to the equity open. 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern. Here it is. Decent short. Decent short. If we're looking at that equity open, we do see a little bit of a volume spike, right? Can we trust that that volume is always going to come in that time? It does, but it may not always be the highest volume of the day. But another nice short opportunity here. But then we see the turn. On a 30-minute, we
on,
did get a go ahead.
on a J trade,
Yep.
and
On
there
that
it
30
is
minute.
again.
Starting to really just like these trades on this 30-minute chart.
That one, we gotta like that one.
This is a
So we
great one.
have this J trade. We have selling exhaustion, and like you said, you know what? That lice. We're on an uptrend. And whatever when the news came out, whatever it was, someone knew about it before then. Um, I'm sure this. What city was it?
Roswell, New Mexico.
I,
Aliens and Bitcoin.
oh, time to put the tin hat back on. But seriously, we're looking at the flow. We have a J trade. We break that high. We don't even we tested what VWAP 2 times, and then off to the races. Um, if I am short in this situation and I see something like that with selling exhaustion, I might not want to get long, but I'm getting out of the way. But you know, who's next to announce Bitcoin can be used? It's going to be a new theme. Congratulations, Roswell. But
Boy, if we
what a
see more
move.
cities start to do it, I need to put that put our drawings back on the chart up here. Where's our guy?
Where's the alien?
Yeah, right
Yeah.
here. Something like that. You guys get the picture. All right. Left my freaking door open now while I got in my office. Get out of here. All right. Let's keep going. We'll get out of here in just a minute. We got a request for Ultra Bond. We did see the bonds rally as well, Coach Paul. What are we looking at here on the daily?
We saw a relief rally. We're looking at it. That's under the 20. We're under the 200. First of all, we're still a relief rally. I don't know why it was, but it doesn't look bullish to me. I'm actually I'm flat, looking for a place to get back in. But overall, this trend is still down. I don't know how you fund how many $37 trillion. That's a lot of bonds. German bonds got smoked, and you know there's a big play in Japanese bonds. Are up to what 3.25%. They were negative just a year ago. But let's stick to this chart here. looks like to me a rally that I'm looking to sell. Let's look at the half hour, see the movement today. So
Pay attention to the bonds overnight.
no,
Maybe tonight with Japan.
maybe tonight to Japan, but let's say it's really important. It's U.S. We'll look at the 7:30.
7:30 Central Time. Opening 8:30 Eastern. Right about there. Man,
And look, and there
what
was some.
a trade.
It used to be 7:20.
Oh, even better.
So yeah, and a J trade.
Even better. Wow,
So
look at that.
what? My guess is there was shorts in the market.
Hmm.
Um, Now I'm going to look for the reverse J, J trade.
Oh, yeah.
But
Just because they've been under heavy sell pressure?
yeah, this was It there was the market's leaning with the leg. If we look at that daily, it was selling, 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 selling. Yesterday we had that wick after all this selling.
Gonna get some relief.
Yes, can it continue? Absolutely, it can. But it can do anything.
Right.
But wow, is that the half hour?
This is the half hour.
Okay, now we're above that 200 on the half hour. Yeah, I'm not going to be trading bonds tomorrow, but yeah, it was quite a rally. Nice day trade, but overall, this market is still under a lot of pressure. It just, Fed minutes today. Um, but to me, this is a correctional rally
Yeah.
for now.
If we look where we're correcting to, I'm just kind of looking to the left right now. July 3rd, NFP
Oh,
day. We're right back at
NF,
NFP.
there we go.
We're right
Right
back at NFP.
to the tick.
So, uh, interesting spot here. Interesting spot here. I do want to real quick. I think we got to most of the questions in the chat. Mario asked, "Do J trades have to use VWAP?" They don't. Just a little extra added confirmation that volume is leaving that range. Trend line from the all-time high before, so we broke above that. In the equities, any other markets you want to talk about, Coach Paul? Any other things you got before we go?
What did Paul? Paul hit the like. Look at the daily right up against the 20 moving average in the bonds.
Yep,
I believe
right
you're
there.
talking about them. Yeah.
20 moving average, low of these CPI, or was it? No,
Yeah.
was it CPI candle? No,
Yeah. CPI.
NFP.
Oh
NFP.
no, NFP. Big
Interesting spot
candle.
there. Interesting spot there. Decision making area. Could give us some volatility.
But yeah, it's a great discussion today. We're actually past time. And I like the discussion we had today because we can look at charts all day,
Yep.
but we have to be in sync with our emotions.
Agreed.
When there's dichotomy there's usually problems. So let's remember that and have a good trading day tomorrow.
I can't let Shubham sent me a long message in Discord. I'm gonna try to read through this real quick. Shubham, when you send these messages, let's see. Let me get to what the question is. Since June, I've been struggling. I've taken 8 daily losses in a row with only one green day in between, something that's never happened before, and I follow my DLL strictly without second thought. Many days started in the green but ended in the red because I got too biased to one side. Let go of your bias. Trade the flow of the market, however you define that. Strong opinions loosely held, right? And you're going into, the trade got stopped out. It did this. I was looking for this. That happens to every single trader. We have to understand that whatever we're looking for in the markets don't have to agree. And when they don't agree, that's when we manage our risk and say, hey, you didn't agree this time, but it's not going to always be like this. I often take stop losses that are too wide, which leaves me with very little risk capital to continue trading. That's a decision that you're making, Shubham. You don't have to make that decision, right? You could trade smaller size. One thing I've noticed for sure is that even though I'm currently in the red, I'm not thinking about blowing up this account, not even for a second. I made a firm decision to only risk my daily capital. Uh, does this shift in thinking show signs of real mindset growth? And is this the kind of emotional discomfort something every trader has to go through? Yes. Yes, it does show growth. I know you've talked to us about your struggles in trading before. You're only down $700 in this account right now. Shubham, this is trading, man. That is everything that you just said in that message is trading. There are going to be highs, there are going to be lows, there are going to be times where you feel like you can't make a dollar. There are going to be other times where you feel like you're taking everyone's dollars. That is trading at the end of the day. In a nutshell, you just kind of summed it up. So don't get too high, don't get too low. Stay in the middle, stay even keeled, and don't let your bias force you into making decisions that, in a long time frame, are not in your best interest. Thank you for sharing that, though. I gotta jump to the call.
Great growth. I'm going to leave you at that. You are growing. Yes, you're surviving a drawdown versus blowing up an account.
Right,
Congratulations.
100%. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Coach Paul. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, all chat. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Great conversation today. And the show is as great as the comments and questions that you guys bring to us every day. We don't know everything. We are just trying to help you along your journey while still writing our own. So we appreciate you. Tell somebody you love that you love them, and we will see you all tomorrow. Coach Hoop coming up in Discord. Coach Ray and Coach Vince at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Photo at Slow Markets at 7:30. Aaron with the London trade. I don't think Dee is streaming tomorrow. She's traveling. But a ton of stuff for you on Topstep TV. This fly is going to get out of this office as soon as we turn the camera off. And we'll talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.